which has put his move to shooting stars on hold. The former Kwara United shortstopper said he sought clarification following the allegations but received no concrete response. Aneke has been suspended by the NPFL pending the outcome of the investigation. Now in entertainment, the wedding of Davido and Chioma tagged Chivido 25 follows the grand traditional ceremony held in Lagos in 2024 and has drawn influential Nigerians from across the globe. Pictures from the venue show a star-studded atmosphere as guests arrive in line with a formal black tie and evening gown dress code stated on the invitation. The father of Nigerian Afrobeat superstar Davido Adedeji Adeleke and the governor of Osun State Ademola Adeleke were among the dignitaries spotted arriving at the venue of the singer's lavish white wedding to his wife Chioma Rowland in Miami, United States on Sunday. Africa's richest man Aliko Dangote was also seen at the high-profile event alongside UFC champion Kamaru Usman and Afrobeat star Zlatan Ibile, who joined other prominent figures from business, politics, sport and entertainment to celebrate the couple. To end around the globe, here are the main points. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has defended his planned military takeover of Gaza City. Preparations are underway to refit a Qatari jumbo jet that is expected to serve as Air Force One for President Donald Trump. One person has died in Turkey after a magnitude 6.1 earthquake struck the northwest province of Baliksia. India's Election Commission released updated draft electoral rolls for Bihar State, where key elections are scheduled for November, following a month-long revision of the voters' list. A 33-year-old Nigerian man, Segun Ogundipe, has been sentenced to 5 years in prison in the United Kingdom for raping and sexually assaulting a woman in Gloucester. The Delta State Police Command says it has arrested a suspected armed robber, Chinedu Eze, and recovered a stolen Mercedes-Benz GLK in Asaba, the state's capital. And that was the news. For breaking news and eyewitness reports, please call 0703 043 7110. On behalf of the producer, Chibike China, I am Amaka Nnechi. Thank you for joining us. To be a man is not to be hard, but to be whole. A true man feels, weeps, protects, dreams. He does not hide behind silence. He speaks with strength and softness.
He carries responsibility, yes, but also joy. He provides, but he also hugs. He's not just a builder of homes, but a nurturer of hearts. A man is not less when he leans on others. He is more when he uplifts them. In truth, in tenderness, in integrity, that's where manhood truly begins.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
The K-Viral Hope for the Hopeless Widows Foundation recently celebrated its one-year anniversary with a strong focus on the theme Gender-Based Violence. K-Viral is a non-governmental organization founded by Pastor Obodekwe Izora Kate. The foundation was born out of a deep concern for widows who are often neglected, silenced, and forgotten. Its mission is to provide support, guidance, and empowerment to widows, helping them rise above grief, poverty, and loneliness. The foundation's core values are compassion, hope, and empowerment. It exists to give widows a new beginning, a reason to smile again, to dream again, and to stand strong again. At the anniversary event, the lecture focused on the causes of gender-based violence, especially how it affects widows and what can be done to stop it. Some of the suggested solutions included creating more awareness, holding town hall meetings, training and empowering widows, and building platforms where their voices can be heard and respected. The foundation also used the occasion to push for widows to be included in politics and governance. They believe widows have a role to play in the decisions that shape their communities, and they deserve to be taught how to take part in leadership at every level. The founder and CEO, Pastor Obodekwe Izora Kate, spoke about her journey. She said her love for humanity, especially widows, led her to create the foundation.
Well, it's something I've always had a passion for, humanity. Even right from when I was a little kid, even before I knew I was going to become a widow, I've always had a passion for humanity. So, from childhood till I grew up to adulthood, I've always been, a humanitarian person. So, and unfortunately, I lost my husband, and how I even started, I don't know. I can't even tell. But I just saw myself gathering widows, and and I carried it on top of my head to make sure that widows don't cry, because I have passed through widowhood and I know what widowhood is all about. What I have to tell the widows out there is that they should keep on striving to survive. They should keep on being strong and resilient. That we are only widowed, we are not withered. We can actually do something for ourselves, I know it's not easy at all, but then I want them to be strong. I don't want them to see themselves as being vulnerable.
One of the special moments during the celebration was the recognition of Mrs. Ngozi Otahumele, the presenter of Nzuko Umuwanyi on Aneke TV, a growing media house in Enugu State. Her program highlights issues regarding the welfare of the family and the society, ranging from gender-based issues, cultural, morals, and especially how women can effectively contribute to the uplift of the society. She was honored with the Best Media Matron (002) award by the foundation for her outstanding contributions and support to their cause. Overwhelmed with joy, she shared a few words.
I'm so glad. I'm so excited. I didn't see this coming. I would say I'm overwhelmed, because sometimes when you're doing something, you don't know that people are watching you. That's why it is good to be good. For whatever good thing you do, the society knows what you're doing. When you do good, goodness will come back to you. When you do bad, badness will come back to you. So I'm so excited. I feel elated by this honor given to me. I wouldn't say I don't deserve it, but I didn't know that I'm being recognized for what I do.
As the K-Vicro Foundation marks 1 year of impact, the message remains strong. It's time for we to stand together and work toward a better future where their voices are amplified.
na mbụ ọja m na-asị ekekele ụwa na ọkwa ọja ekenekwa gị n'eluigwe na ala na-ekene gị n'urukpuru na kpakpando na-ekene gị na ugwu na ndịna na-ekene gị maka ka onye si eme ka ekwe si akpụ ya ka onye si eme ka ọja si akpụ ya ihe a bụ Aneke TV
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, O42. Thank you for joining us. You're tuned in to Sunrise on Aneke TV, your cheerful start to the day, and I'm your trusted morning buddy, Deborah Wakoba, coming to you live from our studio here in Vibrant Enugu.
I'm pushing aside. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful Monday morning. We are here to refresh, to inform, and motivate.
Good morning, Mr. Oche. How was your weekend?
Good morning. My weekend went well.
And I hope you're doing well this Monday.
Please rested.
Okay, thank you for joining us. Today is Monday, August 11, 2025. We've got everything you need this morning: news, weather, sports, what's trending, and that feel-good sunrise spirit to help you kickstart your day.
Rise, grab that cup of coffee, soak in the morning light, and get ready to tackle the day with a fresh perspective because the sunrise is coming.
And next, we will kick things off with our quote of the day, something with inspiration to help you stay focused, driven, and feel fulfilled this beautiful Monday morning.
Right after that, we'll explore major headlines in our news roundup. All the key updates you need will be served hot and interesting.
We've also got your complete weather report covering cities across the southeast and beyond, which will help you get prepared for the day to know if you're going to be putting on your jackets or taking out your umbrella or putting on a light cloth for today.
And a little later, we will take you through today's global holiday and celebrations to lift up your spirit.
So over to the quote of the day. Our quote of the day today comes from the man himself, Steve Jobs. He says right here, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And I would like to know what you think about this quote, Mr. Uche. He says the only way to the only way to do a great job is to love what you do. So I would like to know your own opinion or your take.
All right, it's like that admonition. Whatever your hand finds to do it diligently.
Okay.
And he's also said that show me a man who is good at his work, he will stand with before kings and not ordinary men.
Yes, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So please let's try to put should I say passion to what we are doing. Like try putting passion, try putting this feeling towards your work, and eventually I believe that you will do it smoothly and without regrets. Okay, thank you. And we should not forget that each new sunrise is an invitation to grow, try, learn, or simply be more present. So let us know what this quote means to you. Drop your thoughts on Facebook, X, Instagram, or right here on YouTube, all at Aneke TV. We'll go on a short break, and when we return with the weather updates.
And you're still watching Aneke TV. Let's take a look at today's weather across major cities in the southeast.
And we will starts with Awka, the capital city of Anambra State. It is expected to be warm, humid, and mostly cloudy with light rain possible throughout the day, but the rain chance is relatively low at 20%. Temperature will be at 28 degrees Celsius.
And coming to the city of Enugu, expect considerable cloudiness with possibility of a brief morning shower. Rain and thunderstorms are more likely in the afternoon. Temperatures will range from a low of about 28 degrees Celsius to a high near 29 degrees Celsius. A light rain jacket or umbrella could come in handy, especially for the afternoon.
And over to Abakaliki, there will be heavy thunderstorms early in the morning, cloudy and humid conditions throughout midday with warmer temperatures in the afternoon. Temperature at 28 degrees Celsius. If you need to be out early, bring an umbrella or raincoat. Those thunderstorms might get you soaked.
And moving to the driving city of Owerri, early morning, expect the thunderstorms with temperatures hovering around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Mid-morning, conditions lighting up to cloudy skies. Temperatures gradually climb from 23 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius.
And over to Umahia. It wakes up to a little rain in the morning, followed by considerable cloudiness for the rest of the day. Temperatures range from a low of about 22 degrees Celsius to a high near 29 degrees Celsius. Bring along an umbrella or light rain jacket, so a little rain in the morning, followed by considerable cloudiness for the rest of the day.
Wherever you are in Southeast today, stay hydrated, dress light, and keep an umbrella close. Rain or shine, we've got you covered. That's your Monday weather report. I will be right back with more updates.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. So let's see what's making front newspaper today. In The Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and The Guardian newspapers. On today's show, we'll be having our in-house analyst, Ms. Ambassador Comrade Chibike Frederick China. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Chibike.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deborah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hope your weekend was fine.
Yeah, you're looking bright.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you.
It's good to have you here. Thank you. And so on the nation headlines, EFCC OBJ Library locks horns over arrest of 93 fraud suspects. And over to the Punch headlines, state hit by 68% spike in foreign debt payments. Now on the Vanguard headlines, we have the sugar importation rises as local production falters. And lastly, over to the Guardian headlines. Congestion, assets depreciation push HNI's businesses to echo Atlantic City. Now, back to the Nation newspaper. We have the EFCC OBJ Library lock horns over arrest of 93 fraud suspects. It was brought to our notice like on the 10th August yesterday, which was Sunday 10th August, that there was an operation which was carried out in Abeokuta in Ogun State, that the EFCC arrested 93 fraudsters in Obasanjo's library, as that's yesterday. So I would like to know your take on this situation or this issue.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Deborah. Basically yesterday, at Obiokute, around recently there was a clash within the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library over the arrest of 93 fraud suspects. The raid was conducted by EFCC and within the premises of the hotel at Green Legacy Hotel at Obiokute. So once the EFCC, according to reports, EFCC got an information that is a fraud going around that site. You understand? Sometimes the EFCC wants to work based on how their activities. Sometimes people are complaining that the way they carry their activities is very bad. They shoot recklessly, they bomb into somebody's house recklessly without any arrest warrant. There's something somebody said the other day online. The person said that she was showing her house gunshots on her door. You understand? So she was like, there's nothing, they just shut her house, opened her house, they searched everywhere, they didn't see anything. They started apologizing to her. So it's very wrong of EFCC. But though they are carrying out their activities, but if you want to do something or to carry activities, you carry it well. If you go to America, not forcefully. If you go to Western country, before you as a police, that you have to arrest somebody or do anything, you show your arrest warrant. Okay, even sometimes if you have to do something forcefully, they will ask you, where's your arrest warrant? Where's your warrant? You understand? Not doing something forcefully. Yeah. Because a lot of them now, okay, the management of the hotel and the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library now are condemning the EFCC that they don't have to do something like this. Okay, they don't have to do something like that. So now the EFCC now on their own, they have arrested those 93 fraudsters, and now they have extradited them to the court so that they are waiting for the court mandate before they can do anything they have to do with them. But it's very wrong for them. And the aftermath in this is that the OOPL, that's the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, has demanded an explanation and a public apology from EFCC. This incident has already sparked a heated debate about EFCC method and the balance between law enforcement and respect for human rights and due process. I don't know, Mr. Uche, for you now, as a citizen of this country, for you to see the way EFCC operates, you understand? Do you think it's something very cool to go with? Because after they operate, there always an aftermath. They always show based on their activities. You understand? Because people will cry, people will say all sorts of things, and within law, you as a person, as a citizen of a country, you know that this is your right. Even though you are doing something, you might not be a fraudster. EFCC might have information or insider that will give them information that something is going around fishy something there. You know, sometimes there's something about day for yesterday. EFCC conducted and they dismissed some of their members. Okay, so I don't know what you have to say about, I've already said my own viewpoint.
All right. It's good to get your views on this issue.
Yeah.
You understand? EFCC locking hands with OBJ Library. Today, the OBJ Library, I think, is a prominent establishment in the country. First of all, we have to commend EFCC for doing this job. However, they had to do that job within the ambit of the law. Now, they said they arrested about or over 93 persons from a hotel. Now, there are questions to be asked. Cars. Now, there are questions to be asked. You say you had a tip-off that fraudsters were lodged in the place. Good. Were we having a festival of fraudsters for 93 persons to be lodged in a hotel? You understand? So, talking about doing your due diligence before such arrest, because from my perspective, there's no way you will say that 93 fraudsters are lodging in a particular hotel at the same time.
And it's not suspicious.
It's not except there's a festival going on. You understand? So it calls to question such operation. However, if at the end of the day it's found out that the whole next three suspects were fraudsters, then we commend EFCC. However, on the other angle, this throws the OBJ library on a bad light. You understand? So in this case, we ask that EFCC subsequently should be thorough before going on such clandestine operations. But we will be happy at the end of the day that EFCC were right at the end of the day. But like you raised the question, did they go to the premises with a valid warrant of arrest you raised? Looking at the laws establishing EFCC, I think they have the right to carry out such activities without first going to the court. Is in their mandate. So we'll try to balance this.
Okay. Well, the management of the hotel complaining that EFCC didn't show them the arrest warrant. They just had him there. Sometimes if somebody has to have got information about you, the person has to make thorough investigation, not just coming in and start arresting. People might lodge there. Okay, different people might lodge in that hotel, but it might not be fraudsters. I cannot be fraudsters. So maybe it has to be one or two insiders complaining about somebody's stay.
Yes,
like we said earlier, we have to be very balanced in our take on this issue. Talking about producing arrest warrants, which in most cases is called for. But like I said earlier, the laws establishing EFCC, I think, gives them that right to move in and arrest. You understand? And in sting operations like this, time is of the essence. You may stand and you want to present a warrant of arrest, and the targets escape.
Fleeing
the scene.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's called a sting operation. You understand? That's why it's called a sting operation. So, like I said, being balanced on this issue, we look forward to seeing both parties in court.
Yeah.
And we would be happy that such sting operation is not only limited to where ordinary citizens are. Let's look at the big thieves, not just the young men carrying laptops, and yes, they bring bad image to the country. But what about the big boys who launder billions in foreign accounts? You understand? So we expect to see such operation where they meet, they gather, we know them, they have names, they have an address. So we look forward to such operation where they are rounded up and being prosecuted as well.
Especially all those big. I have to call someone, but I don't want to ask for it.
You don't have to. You don't have to call it.
Yeah, because the person is treading on line.
Okay.
You understand? One big man from
From
until
somewhere, from somewhere.
until it's
At
proven.
least.
Allegedly,
Yes.
allegedly, until it's proven. So
Yes.
don't give such name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Moving on.
Now, over to the Punch headlines. We have states hit by 68% spike in foreign debt payments. And as we all know, should I say allegedly, or should I say we all know that the government had collected loans from other countries to
No,
support.
it's a fact.
It's a
Not,
fact.
yes,
Okay, it's a
They
fact.
took loans.
Now
Yes.
they took loans from other countries, and it's saying they are in a situation, or should I say, they are in this dilemma of debt payments to repay their debt. Now, I would like to know your.
All right. The issue of debt, about 68% spike. Yes, it's a fact that we borrow money.
Yeah.
States borrow money. But we have to point out that these debts are not just from this present administration. You understand? Some of the states, the present administrators met the situation on ground. You understand? So some of them made the situation on ground. But the spike in it, you understand? The major concern here is not the borrowing, is what are these borrowings meant for?
Yeah.
Are they meant to fund the lifestyle of our politicians, our leaders? Or are they being locked back into infrastructural development, into production? That's what should be about. You know, over time, it's been said that there's nothing wrong with borrowing. But what matters is, what are you borrowing for? Yes, what are you borrowing for? Now, in this case, it means instead of our debt being reduced, is increasing because most of the states are not productive. We are not being creative in how we administer these states. So we go on a borrowing spree. Then this has implications for the economy. You see now that when you want to repay this loan, you have to convert this money to foreign currency because these monies are borrowed in foreign currency from international organizations. You understand? So you have to convert the money to foreign currency, thereby creating a bigger burden on the naira, which in turn has an adverse effect on the economy and the common man on the street. I think this information again is coming from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. You understand? I think they are the people that have released this information. And it goes to tell you that if we have these statistics, right, then we should make judicious use of it. Which of the states are involved? We should be able to investigate where and what were this money used for. Yes, and when you borrow, you know, the law states that once these agreements are reached and you borrow, the accountant at the accountant general's office have to monthly deduct this money from stocks. You understand? Against the what will be sent to these individual states.
According to what you say, Mr. Otai, based on the state that are involved in this borrowing, you understand? And also you're coming and saying the fact of this borrowing, what it has to bring. Does it have to be for infrastructure or for, creating revenue, all those things to the state? Now coming to some states that this borrowing is impacted into, like coming to the fact we have here, and we have Lagos State led with what 9.8 billion naira in debt servicing. Okay, a 52.8% increase from 32.44 billion naira, reflecting its heavy borrowing for infrastructure. Now, this amount of money, total amount of money, is based on the borrowing for infrastructure, maybe road or for creating revenue, employment, all those things. You understand? It has to basically on something. But let me say something here. If any government of any state have been borrowing, that they borrow money, they have to show the impact. You understand? Of let me borrow this money, use this money to do something. It's not just you keep on borrowing and there's no infrastructure you use it for. And all of a sudden you embezzle it, and it just stump like that. It shows that showing the image that this state is still borrowing, and it has to linger to the next.
In other words, we should see the impact of
Yes,
this money
the money,
on the life
yes.
of the citizens.
Yes, on the life of the citizens, not keep on borrowing them. Because once you borrow, you invest in it, you invest for people, you employ people, you use it for infrastructure, building stuff, so that it can generate more funds. For example, P2B can say, even yes, there was something online. One governor in Taraba State was saying that his friend Willie Obiano was asked, how former governor of Anambra State was asked, how did he got the money for his international airport he built? What did he say? It was his former colleague, Mr. Pitori, left that money. It's not just that governors don't borrow. Once you borrow, you invest in it, and once you borrow, you invest, make gains and everything, and then there will be more food
Yes,
for the
and I
in
think
the
I
state.
also think to add to what you said, I also think like why don't you make an agenda of why borrowing you're looking for a way to pay back
Exactly.
and not leave it to
That's why
linger.
investment.
Going beyond looking for ways to pay back, in as much as you borrow, there should be creative way to generate funds.
That's
It
investment.
becomes a challenge where these borrowed funds surpasses your internally generated revenue. How do you pay back? It becomes a burden
Yes,
on the citizenry, you understand? So I think we should be very creative enough to have avenue to generate funds. We should be creative enough, plug this money into production. At the end of the day, when you put them into production, into infrastructure, it will not become a burden on the state.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's
And there are so many states that are involved in this. Well, let's know, because so many states like River States, Kaduna, Ogun,
Almost all the states,
almost all the states
are borrowing.
are borrowing.
But I
Yeah.
think the point we are making here is, what are these borrowings meant for? What are we funding? Are we funding infrastructure on the pages of newspaper? Or is it being translated into the lives of the citizens? Are you creating employment? You understand?
Yes,
So that should be the basis of it. Thank you.
okay. Okay, thank you so much. And that's all for the Punch news headline. And over to the Vanguard news headline, we have the sugar importation rises as local production falters. Hmm. We have sugar importation rises as local production falters. Now, it has to do with the farmers. You know how we get our sugar cane from of our sugar, which is from the sugarcane production, where we get sugar. And I think local farmers are having an issue on bringing this. Did I say, how do I put this? Bringing this sugar out. So instead, the government decided to import sugar for the country or for the citizens. Now it says it's rising. I don't know if you have any suggestion or any say whatever.
Coming to this sugar importation rises at local production output. Now it has to deal with the key challenges that what brought it. One, like low local production. Once there's low local production, where there's lesser local produce of sugar, when people go into farming, okay, things make them not to go on doing it. It makes them linger. For example, once they don't have the funds to produce, once they don't have the avenue of how they can generate the funds to produce what they want to do, then once they don't have more workers, because in farming there are many people that have to impute into farming. It doesn't have to be one or two persons. Maybe I can have a farm, but I will bring in more people to help me into farming. Understand? So the key challenges to this is the low local production, inadequate infrastructure, and import dependence. Now, once it comes to import dependence, when the country rely on imported stuffs, imported products, sometimes um, you cannot believe in what your own people can do. You can just be like, my people, they can't produce this much. Let's just import so that we keep on going.
Yes.
But you have to, encourage those who are eager to produce that sugar. You understand? But once you see that, once you are a farmer, you see that there's no infrastructure or revenue in just going to farming to produce sugar. Just like you stay a lot of times, you won't go into it. So I think that these are the reasons. These three things are called inadequate infrastructure, import dependence, and low local production. That's one that these are the key challenges that cause into this. You understand? So, and Mr. B, I know that
Yeah,
you
thank
can
you.
get the solutions to this.
It's
You
not
have,
about, for me personally,
hmm
I think this is an indictment
yeah,
on Nigeria as a nation. We are becoming less unproductive as a
exactly.
country.
Mm,
So this headline, as far as I'm concerned,
mm,
is a total indictment on the nation.
yeah,
We are dependent on importation.
import dependency.
What are the reasons? Farmers are complaining about being unable to meet their quota as far as local production is concerned. They fought us, that's what have to depend, because farmers are not able to produce what is enough, and then we have to
Because
go
of the
importing
regional
sugars.
revenue.
But we look at what are the factors
Yeah.
that's making them falter. Have you provided enabling environment for these farmers? Now, sugarcane farmers who are producing this, how and where are the refiners? Because we know virtually almost all these farmers don't have the capacity to set up sugar refining plants. In order they produce, they have to meet the refiners. What is the enabling environment? You're talking about insecurity here, right? You're talking about a lot of things weighing down on them. So, as a country, I will sum it up that we need to go inwards, re-evaluate our system. We can't continue to be dependent on importation.
Exactly.
No nation thrives on importation.
That's
Yes.
true. That's true. And that's all for our Vanguard news headline. Now moving over to the Guardian. The headline says congestion, asset depreciation push HNI's businesses to Eco Atlantic City. Now due to the you'll be wondering where the Eco Atlantic City are. They are the Ikoyi, the Lekki, and the
Lagos.
VI, yes, in Lagos State. And now it says that their asset depreciation and businesses are going down, and the NHIs are the
Business,
yes, the high net worth
big
individuals.
business. Yeah.
Yes, so they are complaining, or should I say, they are complaining that their assets are depreciating because there are now more people moving into Lagos. Like the more people move into Lagos, the more you get traders, the more you get other, and then maybe get things get cheaper, and then they have the cities that be the
Yeah,
Yeah.
talking about
Investment and
yes,
everything.
talking about this, it's talking about the big businesses are those moving to the new city, the
yes,
core
Exactly.
Atlantic.
Exactly.
You know, over time, due to overpopulation, the population in Lagos is far outweighs the infrastructures that you have on ground in Lagos. So it therefore tells you that the infrastructure you have on ground is no longer capable of sustaining the population growth. You understand?
mm,
Now we talk about decays in infrastructure. You're talking about um, traffic,
Yeah.
heavy traffic. You understand? So when you have heavy traffic on the road and all that, it then means that these big businesses
Yeah.
can no longer be able to meet up to their demands due to downtime spent in traffic. You understand? So they have to move to the new Eco Atlantic City, the
Yeah.
city of the rich. You understand? So expectedly, it's only the big boys or the big companies that would move to Eco Atlantic,
Exactly.
and that's to move away from a lot of infrastructural decays, a lot of ills that comes with overpopulation. Well, again, what tells us that at the end of the day, the eco-Atlantic that we are
Would
moving
not
to
be
will not be
overpopulated again.
overpopulated and we face these
Yeah.
issues.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, as a country, we need to plan ourselves, plan every step of the way.
Yeah.
How do we maintain the available infrastructure? Talking about traffic in Lagos, there's waterways. What have we done to advance the water transportation system? What have we done to create more rail line so that we don't depend on just cars as means of mobility? You understand?
Yes.
However, the faster we develop the city, the better for everyone as well. Let's see if it will cause the congestion on the already over congested infrastructures. Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Thank you very much. And as always, you can grab physical copies at your favorite vendor or catch the e-papers online. And after the break, it's time to unwind with a little. It's time to unwind a little with our celebrations and global holidays, which are interesting. So stay with us. You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Thank you for staying with us. And today we have a celebration which is happening in the Republic of Chad. And then they are celebrating their Independence Day. So happy Independence to Republic of Chad. Now, the Independence Day is celebrated on August 11th every year, commemorating the country's freedom from French colonial rule in the 1960s. This significant milestone marks the beginning of Chad's journey as an independent nation, with Francis Tombay becoming its first president. Independence Day is a national holiday in Chad, marked with grand ceremonies, patriotic parades. Citizens also pay tribute to the struggle and sacrifice of their founding fathers. And the events that are held in the Republic of Chad are the flag raising ceremonies, parades and cultural performances, speeches by government officials, fireworks and festivals, community gatherings and feasts.
So let us know what you're celebrating and where you're celebrating from. Tag us at Aneke TV on our social media handles Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
And that's a wrap on today's edition on Sunrise at Aneke TV. I'm Deborah Wakoba.
And I'm Uche Osai. Remember, you're not here to be average. You're here to be amazing. Stay bold. Stay focused. Keep growing. See you same time tomorrow. Salute.
Thank you.
Sex is sacred, not shameful. In its truest form, it is more than the body. It is soul speaking to soul, fire woven with trust, vulnerability clothed in consent. But when misused, it breaks more than bodies, it fractures spirits. That is why it must be approached with reverence, not recklessness. Let us teach to love before lust, connection before conquest. For when sex is honored, it becomes not just pleasure, but poetry.
Welcome to Aneke TV, the heartbeat of culture, truth, and innovation. From breaking news to inspiring documentaries, from grassroots traditions, mysteries of life to global perspectives, we'll tell your stories. We amplify your voice and your vision. With every screen we light up, we connect, inform, and empower. It's more than a television. This is Aneke TV. We move with the world. Thank you, dear viewer, for joining us on the program, The Arena, on Aneke Television. My name is Chris Aneke. Just as you know that we meet on the arena to take on burning issues and matters which affects us as a people. Here we host guests and personalities who come to offer their own thoughts and opinions on these issues and matters so that we could provide solutions on how to make the society better. So you're welcome on board the train. And today, we're looking at things fall apart. Yes, things fall apart. Maybe because the center can no longer hold. Maybe just because the thread holding the center has lost its grip somehow. But things fall apart. Reclaiming our Igbo culture and heritage. That is the matter on the table before us today. And we have to do justice to this matter. The Executive Director of Center for Memories, Makanche Tankendi Igbo, here in Enugu, Mazi Hanyi Boko. You're welcome to our studios today.
My pleasure. Always good to see you.
And I must confess, you're looking Igbotic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a compliment.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right, there you are. Relax as we unfold our discussion on the matter today. When we say things fall apart, what really comes to the mind of the viewer is Chinua Achebe, the beautiful author who wrote the book Things Fall Apart. I don't know, talk to us. The Igbo culture and heritage, going from where our forefathers started off, where they left off, for us in this generation, do you think we are where we are supposed to be, talking about culture, talking about our heritage? Mazi Boko.
I don't know where to begin to
Begin anywhere.
respond to this.
Just begin from anywhere.
But preamble, right?
Go ahead.
Things Fall Apart was born out of the necessity, to celebrate Chinua Achebe's outstanding work, one of the most important literary works, that not just gave birth to global recognition for African indigenous narratives as told by Chinua, but also the beginning of our indigenous narratives that we are told by an African is very important, because before then there were other narratives spewed for Africa, out of Africa, but never by Africans. So Chinua Achebe broke the lead and began to give voices to the African story. But again, the festival, as you witnessed it, is also an opportunity to re-engage the questions that Chinua Achebe asked in 1958.
We'll come to that point. we're going to get to that point. Yes, we understand there was a festival. There was a festival organized by Center for Memories and all of the, how do I describe it now? All of the events that actually took place. Even the visit by Chimamanda Adichie. We'll come to all of that.
Okay.
But then I just want to start on this note.
Okay.
The Igbo culture and heritage. Are we still holding on to it?
I was
or
driving.
Have we lost it?
I know you were driving.
And I want you to come from this other angle.
Okay,
Don't come from that
Let me
point.
go straight to the chair.
Go ahead, sir.
Media Bagano Pubogoro.
That's a strong one.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we're going to keep around. And it is very important if you want to solve a problem to state what your problem is. That's the only time you can begin to find solutions to it. If you're hungry, tell yourself I'm hungry. You can't just begin to say I'm feeling migraine, my shoulders are paining me, but you feel the need to eat. So mention this is what you feel. For Ali Igbo, we are in a state of anomy, right? Values have declined. Culture has retrogressed. You know, like Chinua Achebe mentioned, if you do not know where the rain started to beat you, you would not know when you are even dry. So for Ali Igbo, mmiri na-ama anyị amakaga anyị ahụ, and it has become imperative to begin to look for solutions. Today, some of the things that we hold in esteem, we've lost it. Today, on wanton killings, it is an abominable act for one to kill another, especially one that is tied, you know, by blood in the land. Now Allah. If you go back to things fall apart, it was one of the reasons Okonkwo was sent on an exile for 7 years. It wasn't just about the exile that he went to. His properties, household was raised down as a way of appeasing the earth goddess. Because one thing about Allah, the earth goddess, is how Allah continues to hold each of us accountable. When Ufuaka Lotamano or Jesu Akanine, because the earth goddess would want everybody to keep an eye on the other person. If I commit suicide, it's not just a problem for me and my household, it's a problem for the community. Because the earth goddess, in her wisdom, would ask, why would Chris not bother to look at my face to see, you know, what drove me, you know, into killing myself? And without finding a solution to that, why would every other person look the other way while I suffer on my own, right? So there are a lot of things that, you know, encoded in these 4 market days, for instance, the Oria form, these are energies. These are energies, you know. I hope you know. So all the
so you are going to throw more light on
yeah,
that,
these
so that everyone will come to terms with what you mean by energies.
These are energies. I mean, every scientific invention, everything that were ever, you know, created out of form to become something, took inspiration, took strength, took energy from those 4 energies. So our ancestors has always been very wise, you know, to know all of these things, to encode it in such a way that the people gets to, get inspiration and do a lot of other things, from the infiniteless pit of Agu that people now call Agu today. You know, sometimes you hear Agu, you think it's a bad thing. It's not you know, sometimes you say that the gift of the Holy Spirit is endless. Agu. Yeah. So every invention that comes out today is as a result of Ogu, which comes from Agu. So, I mean, if you look into the deeper Igbo cosmology, you find a lot of philosophy, you find a lot of cosmology, you find a lot of wisdom inherent. And from those sources comes the values and the ordinary that a lot of people hold sacred today, but they do not know the source from where it comes from. So the values, like you asked, we have lost them because we have lost touch with the source.
Our value system has eroded us as a people, especially as Igbo people, because we have lost touch. We'll eventually come to know what this touch is. Mazi Woko, we won't be in a hurry on this show today. I actually personally took permission from my producer that we're going to run as long as time will permit. We are not in a hurry.
I'm in trouble then.
You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble. The fact remains that you made reference to the Igbo statement that says, meaning we've been enmeshed very deep in the problem. But another Igbo word also says, Namiri Marugo, Asagu Garo. Why has this Miri not been a blessing for us as it is to the Igbo? Why has it become a problem?
Miri, you mentioned, is part of the energy, the 4 energies I mentioned: the earth, the wind, the fire, and the land. These are the four energies. And in these energies, you find the encoded Eke, Ori, Afo, Nkwo. Let me also bring you to Igbo cosmology, where you have the dual complementarity of things. Duality is a major phenomenon in Igbo cosmology. Duality in the sense of Ifekolo, Ifakudebea, right? And nothing exists in isolation. Enwelu, Enwala. So in this stance, mmiri mmadụ ga-asago gara mana mmiri agbagogo n'opi ugbogo. The duality doesn't exist in isolation. That which is a problem can also be a cure. So follow me in this analogy. Mmiri gbaa n'opi ugbogoro means that our people, our value, our consciousness, for instance, let me even drive you into somewhere.
Go ahead.
So the consciousness of resilience, our people always pride ourselves as a resilient people, and you find it in our proverbs. For instance, in our totems, you have the Kinga, right? I don't know if you've seen the Kinga, the two-hand, It's an emblem of resilience, but it's also a personal representation of achievement that every Igbo person aspires to. If you notice, we gave Chimamanda an Ikenga.
We are going to come to all the things that unfolded there.
Yeah.
Because the last time I checked, I thought Ikenga solely belonged to the male Igbo.
I know Chimamanda will not like it if I say it this way, but I'll say it in a way that she will like it. When you reach the peak of your mastery, you have an Ikenga, right? Some other people who are fortunate enough, whose parents or whose ancestors have reached that peak, would carve an Ikenga for them because they want them to continue in that stride or in that strength. Otherwise, if yours didn't come from, that way, you would have, like, people, when you get to a certain height, you get your Ikenga because you're on a journey to becoming the best out of the rest, or the best ever in existence. And Ikenga simply means Igbo words. You just have to break Igbo words down to understand what it means. Ikenjiaga, the strength with which I move, venture, right? When people want to go on a venture, they talk to their Ikenga. They say, this is where I'm going to. I want you to ensure that I get the best. Even if you're going to work, you tell your Ikenga, I want to win. Right? So, and you appease your Ikenga, you make sacrifices that you want for your Ikenga. Right? If you come back victorious, you still, do something to thank the Ikenga, or gratitude. You're working together, right, with your Ikenga. But if in all of these things you've done everything that you need to do and you don't get any result from Ikenga, what do you think you happen to Ikenga? Iboaya too for because what do you about again? Just like the Bible said that you will not be lukewarm. He said that you're hot or you're cold.
There's a quote I came across there recently that said, no man should arrogate to himself the place of God. Not even the little gods. If they do, then you remind them of the wood they were carved from.
Oh, ndị Igbo na-ekwu bifo. Ndị Igbo si na alụsị wanya. N'ọwanya. Egosi osisi eji wee pịa ya. N'ọwanya. So, the Igbo, we are the only people who do not pray to God. Anyị na Chineke na-akpa nkata. Ị ga-agwa Chineke ihe ịchọrọ ka ime. Echi ga-abụtara anyị ihe ọma. Okwu anyị ga-eji igbu, okwu anyị ga-anata. Amaghị okwu anyị ji aga ga-aka nke anyị ji abata mma. Ị na-agwakwa akwa onye na Chineke ya na-ekpe, ọgwakwa Chineke merụ nke mba. Ọ bụrụ ka anyị na Chineke ga-akpa nkata. Anyị akpa ya ọfụma, anyị na-aghọta onwe anyị. Because we understand who we are. We understand where we are coming from. We understand that we're a special breed. Right? So, you don't do all of these things without a sense of identity. And that's why it's painful when I see Igbo people behaving as if they are coming from an unknown source. you need to know who you are. That's strength of identity makes you, even when you don't have anything, you walk as if you own the whole world. And that's one of the things people look at us for and begin to think, has more space whether you like it or not, even if you don't want to accept it, this is who you are. Other people see you and this is what they see. Even when you are mellow like this, you are coming into a space, you see other people from other places, they're already marking you because be careful about this person. So what we see, they don't see. Where our interest lies, they don't know. For us, there's this sense of achievement. For instance, go back to Things Fall Apart again, the first sentence. Okonkwo was known throughout all the 9 villages of your wife because he threw ambulance of the cat on the ground. You have to. I don't want to go further because this is leading me to another thing. Today, there's a phenomenon called Odogu, Unyo Odogu, and nobody talks about DK. And we're primary 1, we're primary 6. People are fixated on primary 1. So nobody wants to get to primary 6. So it's a subject of another conversation.
Okay.
You know? So why do there's a difference between Odogu and DK, but we'll get to that. So why I mentioned that is because, one, you must show yourself to be from a place. You must show yourself identity. Okonkwo has shown the identity. Okonkwo is just like every other Igbo person. When they come into the room, they announce themselves. Right? Okonkwo's announcement was that singular feat. Okonkwo has to build from that feat to become a DK. If he eventually became a DK, I don't know. I have my own resolution.
I understand.
You know, so coming back to the Igbo question,
yes,
we may not really move forward if we don't understand this generational question, this societal values that we're talking about. If people are built by their values, and those values are foundational. So if you're coming to an Igbo person, title right? And etozu. So if you look at the what do you call it, Ikenga that was given to
even as a woman.
Yes.
So apologies to the sensibilities of our viewer.
Yeah. Women own Ikengas. Women. So let me say why I said there's something that we say.
Is that a Gen Z introduction into the Igbo culture?
Let me say this.
Has it always been there?
Yes. I said if I say it this way, Chimamanda will not like it. So what I wanted to say that she will not like is simply this. The Igbo culture does not see you anymore as a woman. Igbo culture arrogates to you all the rights and privileges conferred on a man. So I know Chimamanda wouldn't like it to be said this way. That's why I was, running away. But follow my analogy. When you reach the peak of your mastery, all of those rights and privileges will be conferred to you. So, Otu Chimamanda Nakita, she's actually a chief now. Yes.
Yeah, well.
Odelowa Naba. Echidia, our people. She has bambamba. No one in, asiki konye sinaba. Konye gakbo. Onye me igwe amaria. Sorry, I'm not, but this is the reality. If somebody has brought fame, in fact, if they ask you to name 5 Igbo leaders, Chimamanda will be one of those top 5. Across the world, this person has continued to earn us rave reviews. This person has continued to give us global recognition, not just about Igbo. Africa, in fact, mention the top literary figures.
We'll come back. We'll still come to that festival and everything about it. Let's get back again. We have lost touch with our culture. And culture, the last time we checked, says it's
People's way of life.
People's way of life. We started by looking at our values. Maziboko, I don't know, currently in the Igbo society, there's this mad crave for wealth. And that has actually driven young people, a lot of young people, into what I don't know what they call it. Some say they want to go back to the roots. And then when you look deeper with a lens, you see that a lot of crime is being committed against even the land, as you pointed out earlier on. a lot of ritualism. Is this part of what our forefathers actually left for us? Is it part of our culture and heritage? Is it part of the values we are talking about? The crave for wealth.
Ndị Igbo si na adị achụ ego achụ. A na-akpara ego ụzọ.
Okay.
It's a philosophical word. So what it means is, when you have a staying power in a certain field and you do what you need to do consistently, what happens? Wealth comes to you. Ịchụ ego achụ, dabunu nunu. Anakpara ego. Ask anybody. So what you see today is not who we are. This is a new culture that was introduced to us, a survivalist culture after the war, when people were left with little or nothing and were allowed to fend for themselves. So they had to go in pursuit of Ifa Forgave. So it wasn't a culture that we were born into. It was a culture that came as a result of what we've been through. So these are two different things. Another way to look at it is to look at the level of information that is sufficient in the society. Do you have any information or anything about values? Who are the people who are propagating, those values and the information? Nobody. And nature abhors vacuum. So when there's a vacuum, one way or the other, something is going to fill it up. And if we don't have people who can lead the light for the people, for the younger people to emulate, they will see the ones that they are seeing already and follow it. I don't want to call names or tarnish the reputation of people, but if you look around, you find out that the examples that they see in the society is what they will follow. And because this is, anybody batalego kita, okay, nye yisi oche, obodobia, echie ya ozuogme, achu fafa, yeah. And nobody has paid more attention. Even in the media, we give two inside front cover pages or even back pages, yeah, in fitting this person and say, oh yeah, that's the only thing that they get to see. Nobody has taken time to look at the effect, impact, the human effect that this supposed person has done, or even the acclaim this person has won their community. Because it's the community that confers. If Okonkwo did all of the things he did and the community did not affirm him, nobody would recognize him. So you see how everything has come back to us as a people. Because even as an adult, when my father was still alive, there are things I could buy for him. I'm telling you. But today, we don't have that value. Nwatakịrị ma send it to school. Or iPhone 16 Pro Max nye gị nwa bụ fada ịgbawa ego Chineke chetawa m ogozigo m ị na-adọ nwatakịrị ma na onwere ihe ọ na-alụ. You are part of the problem, and we need to say these things. Gị nwa bụ igwe mmadụ nakọta mma onye ma na-aga m efu ka ọgụ. After 1 year pụta asị gị na ọ chọrọ ka echie ihe nye gị 20 million ị narụ ichie ya. You are part of the problem. Gị nwa bụ a priest. And then harvest and bazaar. Only number source of wealth here. But that's still not getting you to 20 million in Naro. You are part of the problem. So we cannot solve this problem if we don't begin to look at the units of the society. Because when we say culture, people think that culture gets in anywhere. Culture is some sort of agreement amongst the people. Right? So my family, your family coming together, our community, your community coming together to agree on this. Don't have a culture and a broken. So sometimes people think it's static or not static. It's dynamic.
It changes.
Culture for people, not people for culture. So these are the questions, and we need to begin to reevaluate what our values are. Begin to reevaluate all of those, because even when I've not added any value to my community, even when I've not added any value to my family. So this is where all of those problems are coming from. So do you blame the young people? No.
Who is to blame them?
Eh?
Who is to be blamed?
The family. All of us. See, let me tell you something. In this Enugu, I always give this analogy. I grew up in an Enugu where I saw water run through the tap. I lived in a public, face me, I face you, and I showered with water running through the tap. This is my experience and reality in Enugu. But a child born in Enugu this year will think that water beyond a film, water able through the tap, beyond a film. I didn't know what a well was growing up. Today, all over Enugu, well, even the houses will have water running through the tap. I brought from the government supplied water tap or from from well. So a child born into Enugu today will think this is how things are supposed to be. So do you blame that child for the child's reality? Or do you blame the people who are responsible for the system and structuring of the urban rural water supply system? Who do you blame? So how do you now change it when it comes to culture to now say the young people are the problem? Yes. And when they lucky enough, to be so searching or to make inquiries for themselves. And again, they become products of good family upbringing. They will have access to all of these things. But if all of us have good family upbringing, the society I got the call. And the only age another mother form, but I mother goes apata. Only an Amakanaba, Ben mother goes apata. About Ben more.
I'm not Madam Molia.
I'm Madam Molia. So what are we talking about? So if we must get in touch with our culture, with our values, the family unit is one of the most important units. And sometimes in the Igbo, coronator to Warog. Onye na-eruru oge ime onye na-afụbedo onwe ya pụta oje kụrụ nwaanyị je n'ọsị na ọnụgo nwaanyị ifo onye na-amụ nwaanyị nwa ọnụrụ ma nwoke nwa nụrụ nwaanyị o nwere nke isi dị mma eru echi amụọ nwa ke nwa ahụ njem eke ga-agbarata from eluigwe bịa zụọ ya dat okoro isi na-adịrọ mma na agbọghọbịa ahụ isi na-adịrọ mma bịa ga-azụ bịa ndị na-afụbere onwe ha abịa zụọ mmadụ ka eke imi na anya ga-adị nwa ahụ azụrụ azụ. So how do we talk about culture and value reorientation without touching base with the humans, especially those who have engaged with that particular value, with that culture? Because when you engage with them, when they find that culture meaningful enough, and to advance the cause of the society, that's when they can actually, transfer it to another person. We had a system of transference of values, and that system broke down.
As a result,
there was a vacuum. There were a lot of things. There were a lot of things. One was, if you read things for apart, you see the challenge between tradition and change. When the white men came in, the colonial invasions, they diluted our culture to an extent, and they infused a new culture into the already existing culture. And people were battling with it. People like Okonkwo couldn't face it, and they died. Right? Some people found maybe a convergence of a sort for the two cultures, and they moved on with it. Other people, these were the struggle to, we found ourselves in a new culture. And again, there was a war. The Nigerian Biafra War was a major part of the culture change that our people have witnessed. But inye mere emego anyị wako dere ipokanato onwe bring ourselves together as a people, because if you look at other countries, sometimes you see Japan, they launched their 100-year plan, and Dubai, UAE did the same thing, and people are actually launching a plan that they will not live to see.
That is progressive and positive.
Very important, and you see everybody that comes on board, they will work towards achieving those plans. As a people, as in the Igbo, it doesn't matter the political party, but different kettle of fish entirely. I don't care whether you're in ADC or PDP or whatever party it is you come. Once we have a plan for our league, it doesn't matter where you are, wherever you are, please achieve that plan from the from that umbrella above me from so and we're a lot of people who needs to come together to do this. From our perspective as a Center for Memories, we are trying to do what we need to do, because social political group, leaders of thought, we need somebody. We need a unit that can carry that can.
And that's going to form the basis of our next interaction with you. I mean on this show, not next time, but on this show, when we return from this break, because We understand something happened in town recently. Yes, of course, the celebration of things fall apart. And we had the big lady herself, Okada Ndiboje Mono, in the person of Chimamanda Adichie, come to town here in Enugu. And who organized it? The big man seated here. When we return, we'll look at what really transpired at that festival. Don't say I didn't tell you. Don't go away.
Ihe a bụ Aneke TV.
Yes, dear viewer, happy to return with you to the program, The Arena. And today's edition is quite a special one. Things fall apart, reclaiming our Igbo culture and heritage. And we still have with us Mazi Hanyi Boko, the Executive Director of Center for Memories, talking to us on how we could reclaim our culture and heritage as in the Igbo, looking at things fall apart. So back to you now. The festival the Things Fall Apart Festival, right? That was held in Enugu recently. You hosted that event. You must be a strong, powerful man to have put all of that together, to have been able to bring down Chimamanda Adichie down to Enugu, because all along it's been Chimamanda in Anambra, Chimamanda in Anambra. But then this time around, it's Chimamanda in Enugu as a result of the Things Fall Apart Festival. Tell us, what was the need for that festival in the first place?
Okay. I'll begin by saying that one of the beautiful things of being called a director is that while your colleagues do all the work, you stand back as a director and take all the glory.
You can say that.
you know. So what you saw from June 29th to July 5th, or July 8th, if I may say, because we also organized an Nsukka. It's too long now to go to Nsukka, so the center had to also, organize that. So what you saw there was a compilation or contribution of efforts, not just one person, but a multitude of people who, in one way or the other, starting from the festival chair, Mr. James says, the secretary, Dr. Ike Chukwe, and the powerful team I work with at the Center for Memories, who held down different critical units to make sure that the 7-day-long activities of event, came out the way it did. So, but again, going back to the question that you asked, why? The why is very important. So usually we make a joke at the center that things fall apart, and the center is trying to hold things together.
Because it is Center for Memories.
Center for Memories is trying to now hold things together. It started as a joke before it became something, So by the time we tinkered around it, we now saw how we can use the questions that have been layered and things fall apart to answer some of the critical issues in our contemporary times. Today we're still talking about gender, we're still talking about identity, we're still talking about masculinity, we're still talking about community, we're still talking about neo-colonialism. Because kita na asụsụ Igbo anyị atọzi ụtọ n'oyibo ịga n'ụlọ akwụkwọ niile dị n'ala Igbo efu na ụmụazị agafe okwu ime oyibo na-amụzi ma French na-amụzi. Now we have Confucius centers coming in. The Chinese government is making heavy investments, and our people are learning. If you go from Nnamdi Azikiwe University to even Enugu here, a lot of people whose proficiency in the Chinese language is increasing day by day. What are we now doing to market our own very important language? Nothing, zero. So these are the issues. Tomorrow you see people who will begin to like more Chinese products or even more Western products than Igbo. But on our touch, today across the world, ethnic structures are beginning to be named one of the best. Ethnic structures, and all of that. And we still travel thousands of miles to bring building materials I get you going. When I get no room, I get a bunch of get easy and you eat give like because ihe adị na-arụ aja paint abụrụ for our weather. For our weather. So, you know, it's very funny because we begin to despise our own thing and then look towards other people's thing as the best of it, you know, inferior. Mana onye kpọọ obi ya mkpọkọrọ agbata obi were ya mee ebe a na-ebu ahịhịa. So these are some of the things that has confounded us in our work at the Center for Merit. At some point, we even had to go to some schools to meet with PTA because some of them gave a directive to their schools not to teach their children Igbo language. And you know, Chimamanda, these are some of the issues we expressed to Chimamanda. If you listen to her keynote, she touched on all of those, you know, points. So if you deny your child the ability to learn in Igbo language, and today, we see children, you know, children for instance, another Jeremiah Jacobs. And that's onye mba mmiri. Onye ọcha. Ihe achọwa ka onye ọcha fụta, efu onye n'isi dagadagadaga na-anapụta. Isi ọgụ a bụ Jeremiah Jacobs nwa, efu Amanda Oliver. Ebe ka esi mụta nka. The names are very important in the Igbo culture. Names are not just declaration or affirmation, they're a destination. We do something very funny. It's okay, one. It's okay. Why do we know all of these things? Because there's a pattern. In fact, like, you know, and where agwo nọ na families. Onwe ndị eji ma carve ihe wee malụ. Onwe ndị eji ịdụ akwa wee malụ. And sometimes all the knock at this family are not agbo na amufo. People didn't know that they were Igbo textile, origin textile and agbo. So but most of the people who have those names are people who have that gift. That's the beauty of Igbo language. And actual families of diviners. I'll put everybody. Or maybe na Kanyokudia can do consciously if you're now a family of priests. A family of, but in the Igbo culture we had all of that. In actually we put everybody. It runs within their families. And when we lose our culture, when we lose our names, we lose some of those things that make us who we are. And Things Fall Apart Festival was an opportunity to begin to talk about these issues in no particular order. If you look at all of the sessions we had, the public discourses, the master classes, the panel sessions, you find out that they are treating each of these issues, whether it was gender, whether it was identity, whether it was, you know, all of those issues. They were treating it. And that's the conversation we want to start, because for every society that must advance, there has to be a room for conversation. Conversation makes a whole lot of difference. And that's why today, you see us as a people, our governments do not move. Not because we don't have intelligent people in governance, but there's no public forum that invites or sources for other alternative ideas. And we're in a monopoly of knowledge. And sometimes in the center we talk about, you know, this tech word of user interface, user UI, UX, user experience and user interface. So most times, a government creates an interface they feel will help the society to work better, but there's no user experience in it. It will not work. The same thing we talk about for culture. If you want people to go towards a certain direction, there has to be an element of the people in that design. If you lose that people element in that design, it will not work. It is bound to fail. Today, why do you still think people beat traffic? In designing that traffic, there's no people element in it. Government, we woke up, all of us saw traffic lights put in any direction. That's one. Second day, we didn't see any demo. We didn't see any demonstration of a sort showing people how to use the traffic, you know, design. There was no communication, there was no information, and all of a sudden you expect people. Why do we do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result? So for us, that value change that we're looking at, that cultural change that we're looking at for the Igbo society, we're mainstreamed in the Things Fall Apart. So these are the kind of conversations you're going to see every year, every time. Because if you look, Things Fall Apart is just like an Igbo Bible. everything that the Igbo society has dealt with or will deal with, we still find it. Some people call Achebe the prophet, a seer. Because you can't imagine words written in 1958, or even before 1958. 1958 was the year it was published. But he wrote those works before 1958. And they're still as relevant as all of the issues we discuss in the now.
Now, things fall apart because the center cannot hold. But the Center for Memories has decided to see how far the center can come together to make sure that things now begin to hold together. The Igbo race is an endangered species in this whole structure we find ourselves, especially in Nigeria as a country. Very endangered. Achebe wrote the book Things Fall Apart. Do you think perhaps Things Fall Apart as a book, the story, was just meant to tell the story of a people's culture, their heritage? Or do you think it was more political?
I mean, you can't take away politics from the book, right? You can't take away propaganda again from the book, because propaganda is a good tool and can also be a bad tool. But why do I say all of this? Things Fall Apart, a couple of people may say is a response to some of the works that has, that has been written. So if you read works like Calvin Johnson's, I can't remember all of it, but there are about 3 books
from the Western world.
It's a Eurocentric view of Africa, not an African view of Africa. So that Things Fall Apart becomes a direct response, to those works, because those works were written. One of the most profound ones, is it The Art of Darkness? Was written around a South African, figure or something, and all of the things they told in that work does not define us, describe us, or try in any sense to make us human. So all of those works were directed to justify colonialism. So with all of the negative things happening in the Congo, you can imagine a child of 7 who cannot, put up all of the, excessive forces that the colonialists want from them. They have their hands chopped off. So because they cannot produce this amount of work a day, they cut off. So when those works begin to glorify some of these, actions, especially against children, against people who had not done anything wrong, people who just wanted to exist, people who other people had found their land to be, very, fruitful and all of that, and they want to find a way to milk it. Today a lot of people would gladly answer 90, but you don't know how you were knighted before in the colonial past. What would you have done for you to have merited that the knighthood? So these are today people will still kill themselves to be called knights, but it is only when you come to the Igbo culture that you query how it started in the past. But I digress. So the point is, you can't take away the politics from Things Fall Apart, because everything that is waiting must have a form of everything. Whether it's the politics, whether it's the propaganda, whether it is the actual thing or not. Things Fall Apart is the fiction. But we know, because sometimes when you go back to Ogidi, you find out that some of the elements in the work. In fact, somebody was telling us the last time the Abala Cheka. It's not Cheka, we call it Cheka. They say it's not Cheka, it's Cheka.
Cheka?
Yeah. So, but I'm reading the work I call Abala Cheka. And Ekwefi. Ekwefi. So you find out that, these are names of actual people in some certain areas. And my colleague, Grant, talk about the people, their people was an interpreter, so, and it shows how traveled the Igbo people are, and how we travel in Jepo, which is the phenomenon, so we read one of the interpreters who was brought in, to interpret the white man's, but that interpreter is that Umofia will be from another Igbo-speaking area, which we have found out to be maybe the Asandoki area, because the Onyochak is something, and the interpreter interpreted it and made the old people laugh, you know. So us here, ike mu na ike gi bụ ọlị. So and that is how in that area they say na mu na gi bụ nwanne. Ike mu na ike gi bụ ọlị. And when the interpreter said that, I think it was when Okonkwo was in the maternal home.
Okay.
Yeah. The entire people erupted in wild, laughter. And
the white man must have been feeling as a
the white man was like, what is going on? You know, so it showed different aspects of us, our people, our travels, our travails, encapsulated in one. It was trying to humanize them, sorry, not humanify. It was trying to humanize these people that these other works have wrote against, that they are humans, they have blood flowing in their veins, they have their civilization, they have their way of life, and these things work for them. So you can't come out to describe these people as barbarians. You can't come out to describe these people as people without culture, who are uncultured, but they have a culture. When they give birth to a child, there's a system. They have their ways of knowing who their heroes are. They have their own struggles, and they have their ways, of finding solutions to the struggles and challenges that they face. They have a system of governance. They have their jurisprudence. Because, amongst them, there are conflicts. So that's what Achebe tried, to deal with. He tried to show that all of those intricacies that exist in Europe or other parts of the world, we still have our version of it here. And that's what the work was trying to deal with. Yes, it has to come with some level of politics. Because without the politics, it will not make a lot of sense. Without the propaganda, because so nke bụ nke anyị, nke ha bụ nke ha, nke m bụ nke m. So we Achebe tried to make nke anyị to look totally superior, totally good. Because for the people who experienced that culture, especially before the coming of the white men, the culture served them. You may make some argument and say that when the white men came, that it improved the lives of the people in some aspect. You can also say it also caused division. That is it, because there was a dilemma. When Okonkwo and the people, wanted to, let's do away with these white people. It became because they said, do we do away with the white men when our own brothers have also joined them? So when we are doing away with the white men, do we also do away with our brothers? Our own brothers. And if we do away with our brothers, haven't we committed abomination? So it's a huge dilemma. And it shows the long way, because sometimes if you look at, especially within the Igbo society, if you have families where you have traditional worshippers or you have Christians, there's a disparity. You see separation happens because they can tell you cannot be unequally yoked. So you have to make a separation. So why must we always see division? Even when this person hasn't done any bad thing to you, just because both of you disagree on spirituality, then you've created a dissonance. So these are some of the issues. It still happens today, unlike in some cultures. For instance, I know a lot of Yoruba families where in that same household you see a Muslim, you see an Ifa worshipper, and you see a Christian. And all of them will never see that difference amongst all of them. They eat from the same plate. They eat from the same plate. Even sometimes when they're even celebrating an Ifa, what do you call it? Festival. Even the pastor and will come together with their brother who is Ifa and spend time with the person. Amekwa, the Muslim thing, all of them come. Amekwa Christian, but come to our place.
Okay. It's obvious things are falling apart. Miri, Malani, or Mataganyaro, as we rightly posited from the beginning. But we're trying to see how this Miri Marugo, we need to reclaim our Igbo culture and heritage. And the celebration of the Things Fall Apart Festival by the Center for Memories is actually one step in the right direction. It has begun, and you are sure it's going to be a yearly thing. before we round off, the characters in the book Things Fall Apart, who did you celebrate of all the characters in this year's edition? We understand Okonkwo is a prominent character. We'll look at his character briefly to see the role he played and what was what's his name? China Achebe's imagination around the character Okonkwo that made him give such a character, such a role. But for this year's celebration, was there any particular character the center chose to celebrate?
So what we tried, in times past, we've looked at the value of different characters. In fact, let me tell you, there's no way you read Things Fall Apart every year, no matter what theme is or topic is. You won't run away from Okonkwo.
That's right.
Neither will you run away from Onoka.
Onoka the father.
You won't run away from...
Very interesting character.
Yeah, but this year, what we try to look at is, we're looking at the role of gender in the Igbo society, because, it's very important at this point, where a lot of people are clamoring for inheritance rights for women, when a lot of people will also come out to say that the Igbo society is patriarchal and is against women, and it has become very imperative to start this conversation to see, are these things true? If they are true, what do we do to ensure that we value humanity? Because our theme is masculine, feminine, human. The dialogue of complements and Things Fall Apart. Because most times people read this work and read it in isolation, but you won't see the complementarity that exists in this work. For instance, Okonkwo, as fearsome as he was in the book, also fears women like Chielo, Chika, right? When they say a word, Okonkwo won't even answer, reply, right? So, but if the Igbo society, as a lot of us say, is anti-women, why would women be so powerful? Such women, why were they, so powerful? We needed to re-examine all of those things. I'm not saying that women weren't treated badly. But take, for instance, Okonkwo's wife, whom he almost nearly shot, in the week of peace, which even according to Chino Achebe's word, said, even if you find another man on top of your wife during the week of peace, you are not expected to, cause some form of violence. Okonkwo heavily broke the week of peace, because Okonkwo doesn't like festivities. He likes work. And so he didn't find reason why people should be enjoying too much when they should even be working. If Okonkwo was in Nigeria today, he would not observe today's public holiday because he would think it's inconsequential. People should go back, to work. But look at all of those intrigues that played in the book, the feminine, the human. What is Achebe trying to tell us about humanity? People despise Onoka, but have you seen somebody who has given us a perfect solution for depression and worry? Somebody came to you and said, Oga, I'm coming to collect all the debt you owe me. Is this, my brother, is it why you are here since 2 hours ago? You should have told me now. But look around, look at this war. These are the list of all the people that I owe. And your own is not even the biggest. Look at this man there. He has not come to disturb me.
Maybe out of 20 names on his list, the man who came to disturb me, I know, was actually the number 15th on the list out of 20.
He told him, I will begin with the number 1. And I'll pay all of them before I get to you. So just go home. Don't worry. but
isn't that what the today day entertainers seem to be doing in skit making, comedy?
Well,
is that looking like it?
No, it's beyond that. See,
because we understand that Unoka was more or less a clown.
No, Unoka was a musician. Unoka was a musician. But I think, Unoka existed in the wrong generation, right? It existed in a generation that saw hard work as tilling the ground. You must be muscular, you must be energetic. Unoka never wanted that. He was in a generation who you had to marry more than 2 wives. Unoka only married 1 wife. You are in a generation that will kill yourself to achieve all of the titles of the land. Unoka never bothered to get one. He wanted to just live his life. But again, you begin to ask yourself, why was he credit worthy? You already know that Unoka does not have a big band. Unoka does not have children that will till the ground for him.
Yet he goes are borrowing and they
because
loan
you find value in what he does. When people need to be entertained, when people have a festivals or events that they are organizing, they look out for Unoka. His music, in fact, according to some of the works, you read it and said that sometimes Unoka's music blares, that it will look as if the birds are still, for some moment.
Let's look at what happened in Things Fall Apart. Yes, of course, the son Okonkwo came to prominence, going to his battle with Omalinze the cat. Do you see Unoka playing any role?
Unoka Giorgiaya.
His
Unoka Giorgiaya, we're putting more Okonkwo, but Okonkwo didn't even bother to give him any accolade. His music is one that gets to the core of his existence, and I don't think Unoka was done enough justice in the no. So Achebe did something on us. There's a way Achebe, you can't take away Unoka from the world, because again, if you look at some of the issues that even Okonkwo was not happy about his father for, let's mention about 3 or 2.
Right.
One, Okonkwo feels like he didn't get a good hand. His destiny didn't come. He doesn't have a good destiny, right? How would you have a good destiny when you not even acknowledge the source of the one that you have? That's one. Secondly, Okonkwo despises his own father. He never believed his father is good for anything, and he still expected his son Nwoye to respect and acknowledge him. Right? He didn't acknowledge the source. Unoka wasn't buried. Unoka was thrown in the evil forest. Right? Okonkwo himself, who achieved all of the fame, wasn't buried as well. He was thrown into the evil forest because, why? He killed himself. He committed suicide. And if you commit suicide, you're not going to be buried under the earth. You'll be thrown into the evil forest. So, if you look at it from this perspective, there's no difference between Okonkwo and Unoka.
Even though both of them actually told different,
they still ended up in the same place. So what's the essence? That's why humanity should be amplified. Okonkwo went this route, Unoka went this route, and both of them ended in the same source. Nobody was talking about the humanity of them. Humanity is also very important. Humanity brings in a lot of things. Empathy comes in humanity. When I look at me and my brother, I know that, my brother, maybe I'm more energetic or masculine. I could cause some slack for my brother. I could see some other areas where my brother is even, useful and, leverage on that. And he will also see areas where I am very useful and leverage on that. Today, in every society, we look at everybody through the same lens, through the same prism, and it is wrong. I don't know your that complementarity that enhances balance within the society, we have forgotten it. And that's where value and sense of identity plays a lot of roles.
Mazi Boko, our time is up. Surprisingly so, our time is up. But I don't know what to tell the viewer, because see, it's not my intention to do this. I just wish we could have gone on and on. But I'm going to appeal to my producer. However she's going to do it, Chinwendu needs to bring you back to this show again. And I mean anytime soon. But I need you to look at the camera and tell them you'll be back soon.
I'll be back soon.
So guys, it's not about me, it's between him and my producer. He's going to be brought back soon, because the discussion is endless. As a matter of fact, Things Fall Apart, it's something we need to keep talking on and on and on. And the beautiful thing you're doing at the Center for Memories is creating this opportunity for this festival of Things Fall Apart. I would say, may the Center for Memories never fail. Oh, all right. Mazi Ihanyi Boko is the Executive Director of Center for Memories. Makante Tandibo. When you visit Enugu, come. Aneke TV will take you to the center so that you see for yourself the memories that we're about forgetting. It's part of our culture and our heritage. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming. Dear viewer, it's time to go. Until we come again on the arena on Aneke television, remain blessed. And remember, our identity, our language is our culture, is our heritage. Let's embrace it. Chris Anborg is my name. Bye for now.
The K-Viral Hope for the Hopeless Widows Foundation recently celebrated its one-year anniversary with a strong focus on the theme Gender-Based Violence. K-Viral is a non-governmental organization founded by Pastor Obodekwe Izora Kate. The foundation was born out of a deep concern for widows who are often neglected, silenced, and forgotten. Its mission is to provide support, guidance, and empowerment to widows, helping them rise above grief, poverty, and loneliness. The foundation's core values are compassion, hope, and empowerment. It exists to give widows a new beginning, a reason to smile again, to dream again, and to stand strong again. At the anniversary event, the lecture focused on the causes of gender-based violence, especially how it affects widows and what can be done to stop it. Some of the suggested solutions included creating more awareness, holding town hall meetings, training and empowering widows, and building platforms where their voices can be heard and respected. The foundation also used the occasion to push for widows to be included in politics and governance. They believe widows have a role to play in the decisions that shape their communities, and they deserve to be taught how to take part in leadership at every level. The founder and CEO, Pastor Obodekwe Izora Kate, spoke about her journey. She said her love for humanity, especially widows, led her to create the foundation.
Well, it's something I've always had a passion for, humanity. Even right from when I was a little kid, even before I knew I was going to become a widow, I've always had a passion for humanity. So, from childhood till I grew up to adulthood, I've always been, a humanitarian person. So, and unfortunately, I lost my husband, and how I even started, I don't know. I can't even tell. But I just saw myself gathering widows, and and I carried it on top of my head to make sure that widows don't cry, because I have passed through widowhood and I know what widowhood is all about. What I have to tell the widows out there is that they should keep on striving to survive. They should keep on being strong and resilient. That we are only widowed, we are not widowed. We can actually do something for ourselves, I know it's not easy at all, but then I want them to be strong. I don't want them to see themselves as being vulnerable.
One of the special moments during the celebration was the recognition of Mrs. Ngozi Otahumele, the presenter of Nzuko Umuwanyi on Aneke TV, a growing media house in Enugu State. Her program highlights issues regarding the welfare of the family and the society, ranging from gender-based issues, cultural, morals, and especially how women can effectively contribute to the uplift of the society. She was honored with the Best Media Matron 002 Award by the Foundation for her outstanding contributions and support to their cause. Overwhelmed with joy, she shared a few words.
I'm so glad. I'm so excited. I didn't see this coming. I would say I'm overwhelmed, because sometimes when you are doing something, you don't know that people are watching you. That's why it is good to be good. For whatever good thing you do, the society knows what you're doing. When you do good, goodness will come back to you. When you do bad, badness will come back to you. So I'm so excited. I feel elated by this honor given to me. I wouldn't say I don't deserve it, but I didn't know that I'm being recognized for what I do.
As the K-Viral Foundation marks 1 year of impact, the message remains strong. It's time for widows to speak up, stand together, and work toward a better future where their voices are amplified.
na mbụ ọja m na-asị ekekele ụwa na ọkwa ọja ekenekwa gị n'eluigwe na ala na-ekene gị na urukpuru na kpakpando na-ekene gị na ugwu na ndịna na-ekene gị maka ka onye si eme ka ekwe si akpụ ya ka onye si eme ka ọja si akpụ ya ihe a bụ Aneke TV